This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Well, it's a treat for us this morning to welcome Razorback Greg Thomas onto the program today. Greg was, if you're old enough to remember like I am, an outstanding quarterback. He also is a trailblazer. He's written a book called No Doubting Thomas, which chronicles his time as Arkansas's quarterback. And he was also, as we know, the first starting African-American quarterback at the University of Arkansas. Greg, first, thanks for getting up. It's a treat to have you on, and I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing wonderful. Just lived through a major rainstorm here in Salina, Texas, but we're doing wonderful.
Well, that's kind of the way we've been doing it, too. I think everybody across the South's dealt with that over the last 24 hours or so. What made you want to write a book about all this?
Teammates. At that time, we hadn't really dealt with anything like this, and several of our teammates, Otis Lloyd, Reggie Hall, Kerry Horn, the stud guard 3, would always come into the room and say, hey, man, this is his story. You need to make sure you're jotting stuff down. And that's basically where it started with those 3 gentlemen.
As I mentioned earlier in the program when we talked about you being on, I'm old enough to remember all your games, but I don't think I was mature enough to really, in fact, I know I was not mature enough to understand everything that was going on. I was transitioning from my teens to my 20s, and I think about the fact that you lived a lifetime by the time you were 21 years old. Your story about how you got to Fayetteville, I think, is an interesting one, because if memory serves me right, you were going to go to Baylor, and then everything changed. Kind of walk us through that, if you would.
Well, it was the last week of visiting, and I had committed to Baylor in November. And basically the reason for that was my father grew up right around the Baylor area in McGregor, Texas. And I had family members there, so I was that was the goal. And it just turned out that they decided they had a chance to get a running back, one of the top running backs in the state at that time, and I was the low man on the pole. They already had Cody Carlson and Nicholson as their quarterback. So it just happens, it happens every day at every university to every student athlete. The coach makes a decision, and they decided to go in a different direction. And so I was left, as you say, swinging in the wind for about 4 or 5 days. And it was embarrassing. It was heartbreaking. It was a humbling experience. And then 2 days after the signing period, A&M came back around, USC came back, and then my high school coach, Jimmy Keelan, who's a Hall of Fame coach here in the state of Texas, was contacted by Coach Hatfield, and we made a visit, and the rest was history.
You had you really basically lived Friday Night Lights as a high school player out in San Angelo, 20,000 people watching your high school games. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you were the first African-American starting quarterback at San Angelo. And
correct.
We're at Arkansas. How were you able to compartmentalize all that and go play the game?
Well, in San Angelo, it was an easier task. I really felt that the coaching staff and the city had been preparing for this for a while. I don't believe I was the best quarterback at that time, especially the best black quarterback. There were a couple cats 2 years older than I was that were real good, but they didn't play football in high school. So it had been discussed in many circles, and then it had been prepared in San Angelo. I'm not real sure. I'm going to be honest with you. It wasn't prepared. It wasn't really discussed in the state of Arkansas. So 4 years later, it was a major change. And everyone just had to grow up and grow those growing pains.
Tell us about your relationship with not just Coach Hatfield, but the other head coaches on the campus. I think about Coach Richardson and Coach DeBriyn. What was your support system like among those people as a player?
It was tremendous. I had met Coach Richardson when I was 11 or 12 years of age, when he was at the junior college at Southwestern, right before he won the National Junior College Championship. And that relationship, you know, was very, very personal. And it was needed in '85 when he became the first not only black coach at the University of Arkansas, but in the South as a head coach. So that was a welcoming opportunity and relationship that still strong today. I cherish that man. He took care of me, you know, like I was one of his own. I met Coach DeBriyn on the visit, just playing down in the indoor arena during batting practice. I just picked up a bat, ran down there, started swinging a bat, and that relationship grew instantaneous. He wanted me to play on that baseball team. If you remember, that team in '84 was playing in the College World Series. And for the next 3 years, every spring we would have that discussion with Coach Hatfield and Coach DeBriyn. And every spring, Coach Hatfield said no. Relationship with Coach Hatfield, he brought me to the University of Arkansas. He had a goal in mind. He wanted a style of play that would give us the best chance to play for a national championship. But I don't think he really read the tea leaves of the state. So he wanted to do something, just jump in. Everyone was going to like it, and honestly, not everyone was for it. So our relationship, first of all, it was good. It got strained at times. You know how coaches and players, you grow and go in different directions. But I had the ultimate respect for him. He took on a challenge, gave me an opportunity. We were successful. We didn't win the big game, but we won a lot of games.
I remember hearing Coach Richardson talk about how he felt like if he failed, that others would not get an opportunity. Martin LeMans was the first African-American quarterback at Arkansas in the 70s. He didn't start, and he left, and it was nearly a decade before you came along. Quinn Grovey was a young player when you were the starting quarterback. What were your feelings at that time about what you were carrying on your shoulders beyond just football?
Really wasn't thinking about that.
Really?
Just wanted to play ball. No, honestly. Wanted to just play ball. We wanted to win. Other people had it on their mind, but it's a lot easier when you're playing with 85 brothers and you have the same goal. You're not thinking about, the personal things. You're just worried about playing and trying to win. Half our team was from the state of Texas. So our number one goal was to come home and to win the Southwest Conference. We weren't worried about things outside of the field of play. But at times, people, they would make it known to me. I mean, I got letters all the time. I got phone calls all the time. I had people do stuff to my personal belongings, like my car and my door and stuff like that. But, player-wise, man, we weren't worried about that. We weren't worried about any of that, just winning games. And quite honestly, during my era, we won more games than anyone else has ever won at the University of Arkansas. So that speaks for itself. We were victorious, and that's the number one thing we're trying to do, win more games.
It was interesting. I was listening to that highlight that we played right as you came on, and Donnie Centers through the block. There were a lot of great players. I think about Donnie Centers, Theo Young, and there's a lot of good players. The receivers didn't get the ball very much. There were a lot of good running backs. Bobby Joe Edmonds was on that team. So, it seemed like there was a really great collection of talent during the time you were there.
Well, yes, but you forgot about Barry Foster.
Barry Foster, yeah.
Marshall Foreman, James Rouse, Joe Johnson, Carl Miller, Terry Tate. We were stacked not only at running back, but Donnie said James Shebest, Tim Horton, Luther Franklin.
Wow.
But it wasn't our style. Coach didn't want to throw the ball much. Could we throw the ball? We proved the next year in '86. I led the conference, was third or fourth in the nation, and passing efficiency. We could throw the ball. It just wasn't his philosophy. And you play to whatever your coach's thought process was. And we were successful, and that was number one.
86, and you mentioned it there. I wanted to mention that year. Statistically, that was your best year. I always thought that was the best team you had, although 87 was a really good team too. Being a Texas kid, going to Austin, winning in 86, then beating A&M at the end of the year. But going to Austin and winning, what was that like?
It was amazing, but it was just another game for us at that time. I didn't realize, and I don't think the team was really aware that we had not won there in 20 years. But personally, my dad went to school not 6 blocks from there at Houston Tillerson, an HBCU. He wasn't allowed to go to the University of Texas. He wasn't allowed on the University of Texas campus proper unless he worked on the campus. So there were many other things going on within me personally at playing at UT. But it was always a goal to play there. Never to attend there, but to play there. And to beat them on national television in front of 70, 75,000 fans in person on your birthday, pretty daggone cool.
Wow, I didn't know it was your birthday.
Yeah.
Greg, this is Tommy Kraft. You're there in the heart of Texas now, and the big story this week is the change of the schedule in 24 in the SEC with Texas and OU joining the league. What are your thoughts on Texas getting into the SEC with Arkansas, and kind of what's the groundswell opinion there at home for you, and what those Longhorn fans are thinking about the future of their program?
I don't care about the Longhorns. I don't care about the Longhorn fans. But we can't wait. Can't wait to have Oklahoma and Texas join the conference.
Yeah.
Hey, cool as it's going to be, they have to play in front of 80,000 to 100,000 fans every week, something they haven't had to do. They will have to travel and play in different facilities, bigger facilities with harsher crowds, with crazier living arrangements, etc. So, yes, we're going to see if they can handle it. And quite honestly, it's going to be cool to watch. Now, hope they get rid of the Longhorn Network, because I don't think they're joining the SEC. They can't have that. That's a major advantage for them. But Oklahoma's bringing some great programs to the conference also, and it's going to be challenging. It's going to be fun, and I hope they get exactly what they deserve, to get their butts whooped every daggone week.
We'll let you go on this one, but in the modern day of group text and text exchange, those weeks where Arkansas, like in 21, have played Texas, and those big games that bring back nostalgia, what are those exchanges like with you and your old teammates when it becomes Arkansas-Texas week, and what do you think they'll be like moving forward?
It's going to be tremendous. I mean, when you bring a group of guys, not just from the same state, but from the same area together, and to play great programs, it unites everyone. Now, with Arkansas, when we left in 93, I believe, to go to the SEC, it was hard being a Razorback in the state of Texas, because we lost a recruiting base, we lost some familiarity, and all the people here in Texas, they didn't care about the Razorbacks. We don't play the TCUs and Texas Tech and the Baylors. So we lost some ground, not only recruiting, but we lost base with, a group of people that are rabid fans. So the opportunity for us to get together and watch games was crucial. We still have a group of players, and I would say 20 to 30 of us, that when Texas A&M and Arkansas play here in Arlington, we gather at one of our other friends' house and watch the game. We don't go to the game. We all come together, and we make our own menu. We bring chairs. We sit outside on the porch in the back, and we cheer on the Razorbacks as us. And that's pretty cool. That's unique. It's like having our names on the sidewalk around the campus when you graduate. It's unique to us, and we appreciate it. We love it. We look forward to it. Now, bringing Texas and Oklahoma back into the fold will make that much more sweet.
Greg, you've been generous with your time this morning. We appreciate that. I hope we have an opportunity to visit again. The book is No Doubting Thomas. If you're a Razorback fan, it is a trip back in time. And, Greg, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure to have you.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me on.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your championship finals info, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds and the latest matchup reports for this year's NBA and Stanley Cup Finals. BetOnline is your sports intel headquarters this season, as we have you covered for all your insider sports wagering needs, from baseball and hockey to MLB, UFC, and boxing. The fastest and easiest way to get all your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your home. Get in the action today. Head over to our website or use your mobile device to join, and be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE to receive 50% bonus on your first deposit. That's BLEAV. Bet online, where the game starts.